What if the heaven you pray for is the prison you've never questioned? Long before the stars were catalogued, before gods had temples and names, the forgotten mystics whispered of a cosmic mirage, a paradise built not for freedom, but for containment. This is not a sermon. It is a remembering, something your soul once carried like a flame before you were taught to fear the dark. Listen closely. There is a silence beneath your thoughts, a hush so ancient it trembles when you draw near. You felt it, in the pause before sleep, in the echo of your own longing, in the uncanny ache that rises whenever life seems too neatly arranged. It visits like a ghost brushing the edge of your awareness, asking a question you never learned to answer. Why does this world feel almost right, yet strangely hollow? You were born into a story that began without your consent. A world dressed in symmetry and stars, wrapped in laws so elegant they feel divine. A place where suffering insists it has a purpose, and joy seems rationed by unseen hands. You are told it is all perfect, that the cosmos is benevolent by design. But the old initiates, the ones whose names survive only in ash and rumor, said otherwise. They claimed this realm is a construct, a dazzling labyrinth spun from light and limitation, a place where souls forget their origin in exchange for certainty, predictability, beauty, a gilded sanctuary built with such artistry that its walls resemble wings, a refuge or a trap. You have felt it, haven't you? The contradiction, the friction between your deepest knowing and the world you inhabit. How can a universe of infinite possibility feel so small inside your chest? How can a being capable of timeless awareness feel confined by a calendar, a name, a heartbeat? The Gnostics spoke of this tension with reverent fear. They likened the cosmos to a shimmering veil, exquisitely woven, alive, enticing, yet obscuring the truth beyond it. A veil that breathes because it is fed by your belief in it. A veil that binds because you mistake its glow for the source of all light. And so you move through life feeling half awake, half dreaming, half remembering. You sense that something vast is missing, but you cannot name it. You sense that something here is false, but everyone around you calls it real. What you are experiencing is not delusion. It is the first stir of remembrance, the whisper, the call. It does not demand faith, it demands courage. To question the architecture of existence itself, to peer beyond the painted sky, to wonder whether the reward you were promised, safety, order, even heaven, was only the bait. You were taught to fear the abyss outside the cosmic dome, but the mystics feared the dome itself. Tonight, we walk where they once walked, through the thin places, the cracks in the sky, the memories you carry in your bones, not to destroy your faith, but to return it to you, not to unsettle your mind, but to awaken your sight. Breathe. The journey begins with a single realization. If the world is a beautiful cage, then the key has always been hidden inside you. You've stepped across the threshold now, into the hush between breaths, where truth travels without sound. Here, the world loses its familiar edges. The sky feels thinner. The air around you hums as if listening. You are no longer a passive witness to reality. You are a question blooming inside it. This is where the descent begins. Not into darkness, not yet, but into a subtler realm, the realm of almost truths. The illusions soft enough to cradle you, warm enough to lull you, tender enough to keep you from noticing the chains woven into your comfort. The ancient mystics claimed that every soul is born with a bruise, a faint ache, a shimmer of sorrow that cannot be explained by personal history. You felt it as a child, though you didn't have language for it, a longing without origin, a grief without a wound, a sense of displacement so quiet it hid beneath your laughter. But the bruise was the first sign, proof that you had fallen into a world that was not shaped for your fullness. Look around this labyrinth we call life. Its corridors are lined not with barbed wire, but with stories, soft narratives that promise stability, identity, and belonging. You are given a name, a role, a path, a set of unspoken rules. You are taught to desire what others desire, to fear what others fear. You're handed dreams that glitter just enough to keep you chasing them. These are the gentle chains. They don't pull, they invite. They don't bind, they soothe. They don't restrain, they define. And slowly, almost lovingly, they shrink the expanse of your inner world until you fit neatly into the architecture of this one. You learn to accept the limits handed to you. You forget the immensity you once carried. You forget the skylines of consciousness you once traversed effortlessly. The labyrinth works because it imitates paradise. The rules offer predictability. The beauty offers distraction. The suffering offers meaning, or at least the illusion of it. But beneath all of it, something in you remembers. Like a bird raised inside a painted cage, you feel the ghost of a horizon your body has never seen. There are moments, fleeting, fragile, when the veil flickers. You glimpse the bars through the scenery. You sense the hidden machinery behind the sunsets and seasons. You feel the architecture of this world tightening around your wings. And in those moments you tremble, not from fear, but from recognition. Because somewhere deep within the folds of your being, an ancient truth stirs. This is not where you began, and this is not where you were meant to remain. But the labyrinth is cunning. When you resist, it comforts you. When you awaken, it distracts you. When you question, it overwhelms you with noise. Not to punish you, but to keep you compliant, content, asleep. This is the descent. The slow realization that the life you were given is narrower than the life you were made for. That the cosmos around you, magnificent as it appears, is a crafted enclosure, a spiritual terrarium designed to keep your wings folded. Feel the discomfort rising. Let it rise. For only when the chains grow visible can they finally be broken. There comes a moment, subtle as a tremor, violent as a silent scream, when the pattern breaks. You're walking through your life as you always have, following the familiar lines, obeying the invisible architecture, when something inside you misaligns. A thought flares where it shouldn't. A memory surfaces that isn't tied to this world. A sensation ripples through your chest, as if the air has momentarily forgotten its shape. This is the shatter. The moment the sky above you, the sky inside you, begins to crack. The mystics described it in many ways. A tear in the dream, a slip in the code, a fracture through which the real leaks. It doesn't arrive in thunder or prophecy. It comes quietly, in the pause between thoughts, in the trembling after heartbreak, in the unspoken dread that rises when life feels too orchestrated to be accidental. It might come when you stare at the stars and feel, inexplicably, that they are watching you. Or when you look into a mirror and glimpse a depth in your own eyes that shouldn't fit in a human skull. Or in the sudden, overwhelming recognition that you have lived this moment before, not in memory, but in a place beyond memory. The fabric of the world flexes. You feel it, even if you don't yet understand it. For a heartbeat, the illusion loses its perfection. The labyrinth flickers. The gentle chains loosen. And you see, not with your eyes, but with the ancient awareness behind them, that something about this cosmos is engineered, not random, not divine, constructed. The revelation doesn't comfort you, it rattles you awake. Because beneath the beauty of this world, beneath the physics and poetry, you sense a scaffolding, an intelligence that shaped this place not out of love, but out of hunger. A demiurgic architect, mistaking its own shadow for godhood, forging a paradise that doubles as a cage. The Gnostics warned that when the fracture appears, you must not look away, because that is when the world tries hardest to reclaim you. Your thoughts turn frantic, your emotions surge with no clear trigger, your routines feel unreal, thin, almost puppet-like. You question everything, and the questioning terrifies you. This is the cost of revelation, the soul shaking itself free of sedation. For the first time you wonder, if this world is a dream, then who is dreaming me? If the sky has cracked, then what waits beyond the cracks? If paradise is a construction, then what lies outside its edges? You feel the truth approaching, vast, merciless, luminous, like a tide you cannot outrun, a truth that doesn't ask for belief, only surrender. And as the sky fractures, you feel something inside you fracture too. Not a breaking, a widening, a space opening through which the forgotten light begins to seep back in. Your pulse quickens, your breath stutters, your vision sharpens not outward but inward, because you are about to see what the architect never intended you to remember. Hold steady! The revelation is coming. When the fracture widens, when the dream begins to leak light, the first thing you meet is yourself. Not the self you play in this life, the name stitched onto your childhood, the identity carved by memory and repetition. No, what greets you is older, vaster, a presence you've carried since long before this world rose like a shimmering stage around you. And it terrifies you, because the truth is not a gentle awakening, it is a confrontation. The mystic said that once the veil splits, once the soul glimpses the machinery behind existence, the cosmos turns into a mirror, a ruthless, unblinking mirror, reflecting every shadow you've tried to bury in the folds of your human story. You try to look away, but the mirror follows. You try to retreat, but the reflection grows sharper. You try to breathe, but the air becomes heavy with truths you've evaded for lifetimes. This is the reckoning, the realm between illusion and remembrance, where every fear, every wound, every forgotten part of you steps forward to be seen. The fracture has not exposed the world, it has exposed you. And in that exposure, something ancient stirs from the depths of your being, the part of you that remembers how you were captured, how you were lulled, how you traded eternity for the comfort of confinement. You see the moments you dimmed your light to fit inside the rules. You see the ways you clipped your own wings because soaring felt dangerous. You see the times you accepted suffering as destiny because the labyrinth taught you that pain is noble and questioning is sin. The mirror reveals the subtle betrayals, not inflicted on you but enacted by you against yourself. Every time you believed you were small, every time you surrendered to fear rather than curiosity, every time you agreed to be less than the boundless blazing force you truly are. These realizations do not arrive with cruelty, they arrive with precision. The demiurgic architects of this realm always feared this moment, the instant when a soul stops blaming the world and begins reclaiming its power. Because a soul that sees its own self-limiting patterns becomes impossible to imprison. And so the mirror shows you everything, your shadow, your light, your wounds, your wisdom, not to shame you, but to free you. But freedom does not begin with transcendence. Freedom begins with dissolution. To step beyond the constructed paradise, you must first witness how you became a willing resident of it, how you mistook comfort for liberation, how you accepted the story offered to you rather than the story rising inside you. The reckoning demands honesty, the kind that shakes your bones, the kind that burns through your illusions, the kind that leaves you trembling and raw, stripped of every borrowed identity. You feel a pressure building in your chest, not dread, but release, a soft unmaking, as if your soul is shedding the layers it once wore for survival. You are not collapsing, you are expanding. You are growing too vast for the limits that once defined you, too luminous for the shadows that once hid you, too awake for the cage that once contained you. And as the mirror dissolves, as its surface shimmers with the last remnants of your old self, a realization dawns with the clarity of a rising sun. You were never trapped by the cosmos. You were trapped by the version of yourself that believed you belonged to it. When the mirror finally dissolves, When its last shimmering fragments fade into the breathless space around you, something extraordinary happens. The world that once enclosed you loosens, not like a cage breaking, but like a dream thinning. The edges blur, the colors soften. The familiar architecture of existence begins to unweave itself, thread by luminous thread, until all that remains is a vastness so silent it feels alive. This is the return, not to a place but to a knowing, not to a heaven but to yourself. The mystics describe this phase as the light behind the light, the radiance that does not shine but is. The essence that existed before stars were kindled, before time was whispered into being. It is not an external kingdom waiting for you. It is the memory of your own infinite nature rising like dawn through the chambers of your being. You feel it first as a warmth, low, steady, honest. A warmth that gathers beneath your ribs, then expands outward until your entire body seems made of breath and luminosity. There is no fear now. Fear was a language spoken only by the self you have already outgrown. In its place comes a clarity so pristine it humbles you. You realize the labyrinth was never meant to punish you. It was meant to awaken you, to sharpen you, to teach you the taste of contrast so that recognition could become revelation. You realize the demiurge, the architect of illusions, was powerful, but only within the boundaries of the dream. It could shape your surroundings, influence your story, even cloak your memories. But it could never extinguish the spark within you. Because the spark is older than the architect, older than the dream, older than the cosmos itself. That spark is what you feel now, pulsing, rising, reclaiming. What once felt like the fracture in the sky now reveals itself as a door, not a portal out of reality, but a passage deeper into it, beyond the imitation of paradise, into the true expanse that has always awaited you. You are no longer the seeker, you are the remembering. The echoes of the old world call out gentle but distant, like fading waves on an abandoned shore. You feel no need to run from them nor cling to them. You simply understand them. You understand yourself. The chains that once felt unbreakable have evaporated, not through struggle but through recognition. The cage that once felt absolute has fallen away, not in rebellion, but in remembrance. And in this spaciousness, in this softened glow, a final truth dawns. You were never meant to worship the light outside you. You were meant to awaken the light within you. A breeze, or something like a breeze, stirs the luminous stillness. The door before you brightens. It does not lead forward or backward, upward or outward. It leads inward, into the boundless, inexhaustible awareness that is your true home. You step toward it, not as a soul escaping a prison, but as a sovereign returning to their own infinite terrain. The veil sighs, the dream exhales, and the moment your foot crosses the threshold, you feel the final unbinding. You are not leaving the world. You are remembering you were never confined by it. Your wings unfold. Your vision clears, and the universe, the true universe, not the crafted imitation, blooms open inside you like a star remembering its fire. You are free. You have always been free. You simply needed to awaken. If these words stirred something ancient within you, stay close, subscribe, share this truth, and walk with those who are ready to remember the light they've carried all along.